Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Kurt Roth and this is the 505 Sports Venture Program. We have a very special guest and we're going to get to that in a moment. But I want to take a few seconds here to go a little down a different path. Basically every week I talk about the importance of local journalism, and I urge you, and I still urge you, subscribe to the Albuquerque Journal. Even if it's an online subscription, we need to keep local journalism alive. It's great for so many reasons, but here in Albuquerque, we're really blessed with super great coverage of our Lobos. So again, subscribe to the Journal. But also here in New Mexico, we're notorious for taking care of our own. And I want to point something out to all Lobo basketball fans, all fans in general. We all know how great reporter Jeff Grammer is. Throughout the offseason, we're filled with Lobo news, recruiting news, guys who are here for the summer. He has a great podcast. He's interviewed all of the Lobo basketball coaches, and he's just constantly around, and that's Jeff Grammer. Well, Jeff's run into a little bit of a personal problem now. Many of you know it. His wife, who's one of his constant companion, has been diagnosed with breast cancer. So we're asking everyone to give us a little hand. If you look on the screen right now, there's a GoFundMe a site. It's Support Jennifer's Fight Against Breast Cancer. And for all New Mexicans, I urge whatever you can do, nickels, dimes, your coffee money for the day, let's help out Jeff and his family because he's just a great New Mexican, and we want to do what we can. And again, New Mexicans are notorious for taking care of their own. So let's pitch in and see what we can do. All right, well, we've got a break. We're going to go forward in a little bit, maybe at the end of the program, and talk about the collaboration with 505 going forward under the new rules. But we've got a really cool guest. We're going to talk Lobo baskets. So hang with us. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Eagle Greens and Turf are a family-owned and operated business with over 25 years of experience in the home improvement industry. They are your exclusive dealer of celebrity green, synthetic putting greens, and artificial turf. They also have artificial turf that is specifically designed for your pets. Eagle Greens and Turf are proud sponsors of ProV Networks and can make your lawn green all year long at 505-273-2744.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
We've been trained, conditioned, and rewarded for doing more. But people weren't designed for all that doing. Our bodies need to settle into nothing from time to time. Into nothing at all. In a world obsessed with doing more, we invite you to undo.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Again, I'm Kurt Roth. This is the 505 Sports Venture Foundation program. We've got a special guest I want to get to right away. But first, I forgot to thank the president of ProView Network, Steve Davis. We had an off-camera chat. right before we started about one of the greatest games in Lobo history where Steve poured in 23 points and everybody goes back to the 70s. All the old timers remember the UTEP game. So thanks for Steve for giving us the opportunity. And then my guy Adrian, the Dodger fan, my producer, he's still wearing a Dodger hat to remind me of the World Series. I think it's about time we tried a different approach, Adrian. It worked, all right? I took my medicine and here we are. All right, you know we have limited time. I want to get right to our guest. A lot of you know him. You've seen him out in some other media situations. You follow Lobos, you know who Sam Stapleton is. Sam, thanks for coming.
Happy to be here.
All right.
Appreciate you having me.
All right. So a lot to talk about, but I think one of the things people don't know, unless they've really researched you, is you decided at a very young age you want to be a coach. That was kind of your thing. You were a ball player, and you played D3 ball, and you were a good D3 player, no?
Competent.
Okay, competent. You're an LA area guy. Where are you from exactly?
From the west side of LA, kind of bordering Santa Monica, Westwood area.
Okay.
310.
Okay. You know, a lot of LA people here, a lot of LA fans, a lot of Dodger fans, so we pay attention to LA, or way more than we should. All right, so you played D3, but you knew you wanted to coach. So then, yeah, very interesting, lowest level possible, basically no money. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a 5'10", unathletic guy, you kind of know your ceiling as a ball player might be tapped out a little bit. So I knew I wanted to get into coaching early, and right, you got to get your foot in the door any way you can. And I knew, right, you got to be willing probably not to get a lot of money on the front end. The junior college level, you wear a ton of different hats, whether it be the academic part of it, recruiting part of it, player development. So I was fortunate enough to get that opportunity early on when I was 21 years old.
Where was that?
West Los Angeles Community College out in
Okay.
Culver City.
Okay. And when you say you do everything, I mean, you can do the laundry sometimes.
I mean, you are doing the laundry all the time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So not glamorous as possibly people might think about coaching or D1 coaching or head coaching, but you wanted to do it. And in your opinion, it beat doing the 9-to-5 thing.
Without a doubt. I mean, I had multiple friends who I graduated college with, and they were making more money off the bat working a 9-for-5, and I would hang out with them on the weekend, and they already hated their life, and that made me know that in the long run, if I really commit to it, that I'm going to be a lot happier with what I'm doing than maybe, you know, and there's different priorities, right? People might prioritize, right, having that free time after 5 o'clock. For me, the reward was being on the clock all the time, but the reward that would come with it of benefiting from player success and having them move on to a higher level.
Okay, so you get the first job, you're washing uniforms, you're mopping the floor, you're coaching, you're recruiting. You stepped up after JC. What happened next?
Yeah, fortunate enough to get opportunity as a graduate assistant at Division I Pepperdine University in Malibu.
Malibu on the beach, we've called that.
Yeah.
University of Malibu on the beach, okay?
Here's the thing, Kurt. When you grow up by the beach and by the water, you're a little spoiled and you're a little immune to, that just feels like normal life.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. So how long were you at Pepperdine?
2 years.
Okay, and then?
From there, got the opportunity to be a assistant coach at a Division II university, Cal State Dominguez Hills, where oddly enough we played in the same league as Coach Olin and UC San Diego before they made the transition to Division I. So,
How many years were you there?
oh, tough to count. We had a COVID year where we didn't play.
Right. We had that here. Trust me.
Yeah, I think we competed for 4 years and maybe a fifth year, COVID year. Where we
And
didn't
every
play.
year you went head-to-head with Coach Olin's team.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hated it. They were my scout, and I told our guys to guard the three-point line, and they still came in and kicked our butt and made 17 threes in a game. I
Okay.
remember that perfectly.
So then how did you wind up with Coach Olin?
I mean, the great thing about this business is, right, we talk about recruiting a lot and you're evaluating prospects, but I think as a coach, you're evaluating people who you want to work with. And seeing what Coach Olin did at UC San Diego, from no athletic scholarships to building that thing up to, right, they arguably could have won the D2 national championship if the year didn't get shut down by COVID.
Right.
And knowing that they were making that transition to Division I, I wanted an opportunity to be a part of building that from the ground up and helping any way I can. So I see him out on the recruiting, right? Talk to him a little bit, might let him know a player that could fit how they play, that maybe with them going Division I would be a little above what we could get at Dominguez Hills. Right. And those interactions are genuine and authentic, and it kind of led to he had an opportunity, and it worked out that way.
So you were there now, transition into D1.
Yeah.
That must have been wild, just exciting, but like, what's going on here?
Yeah, both. It was a fun, unique process, but I tell people all the time, recruiting can be really hard when you start out a phone call with, hey, I love your game, but we can't compete in the postseason. You want people that care about winning. You want people that care about competing in the postseason. And that added a little tough obstacle in the recruiting process, but knowing that we were building to be competitive right away for that first season of eligibility or postseason eligibility gave, not necessarily, even though we're trying to win every game, but it gave a long-term goal of like, we are leading up to that, we are building to that, and we don't want to sacrifice anything to get to that goal.
Well, obviously, looking back at history, recent history, that worked. You guys sold it. You developed really quickly, and all of a sudden, we're in 24, 25. And here's your team, here's Coach Olin, and we're competing at Division I, and we're eligible now to go to the dance. All right. So we've set that stage last year. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back with more with Coach Stapleton. Stay with us, please.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
All right, everybody, we're back. Segment 2 of the 505 SVF program. We're here with Coach Stapleton, UNM Lobos. And all right, we went through your transition, player, coach. Now you're playing at D1 in San Diego. You're eligible for the tournament. And as a Lobo fan, I have to tell you, I follow college basketball all over. But what got you guys on the radar is Utah State was back, another new start over. We expect them to be terrible, and they're kicking everybody's butt. And then you guys go in and beat them. That was what was that? What was that? Was the student section full then? Or was it during the break? I mean, was that place nuts? Because it's the best student section I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, we were there during the break, but it still felt, even if maybe the numbers didn't back it up, it felt like a full-on crowd. You're hearing the yelling all the way down to the bench. You got the fans right behind you. Right. And it was one of those games where when you're a Big West school and you're playing at a Mountain West school, you don't have a ton to lose. We weren't thinking about necessarily an at-large bid at the time. It was more about the experience. Our hopes were and our expectation were to go win, but ultimately we wanted to prepare to be really good in the Big West, and our guys performed and competed. It was a fun environment and an even more fun outcome. And I think that was one of the moments where our guys began to believe, like, we're going to be pretty good.
We're really good.
And at the same time, we felt like we beat a good Utah State team who had proven it leading up to that point and proven it after. And as you know, now with the net and Ken Palm, after you beat a team, you begin rooting for them even more to help your resume.
After that, we all said, all right, Utah State's they're a fraud. They can't make this transition, and boom, they beat everybody after that. So okay, you guys beat Utah State and have an incredible year out west. So you battled. I guess you were head to head with Irvine throughout the year.
Correct.
And you played them 3 times.
Yep.
How did that go?
Yeah, I mean, every game was really fun. Incredible environments from that type of whatever you want to call it, mid-major environment. Every time we played them, packed crowd. Our students would travel there when we played them. Right. They beat us at our place. We returned the favor, and then we got the tiebreaker in the Big West final. And you know, I want to make sure I point out that our success, a lot of that credit was due to not only hitting on the right talent, but hitting on the right people and having those. We had 3 really good guys who kind of led the team in terms of Tyler McGuy, Neva Niwate Jones, and Hayden Gray. All D2 transfers, all came back for a second year, and having that continuity and having guys back for one more year, I think really helped. You know, they had experienced losing to Irvine the year before, and even when we did beat them in overtime, and then our season slipped away after that, because that felt like we peaked out, and they remembered that moment. And having them go through that, I think played a big part in why we were able to fulfill and see it through to the end. Well,
it was wild, and then obviously that championship game is, even with your strong net, you're not getting into the tournament if you lose that game. I mean, Lobo fans experienced that the year before, where we beat everybody, play San Diego State in the championship, beat them, and then find out, well, if you didn't beat them, you weren't getting in. And it's like, wait a minute. Anyway, so 2 things. I want to go backwards a little bit because I wanted to ask about it, and I should know this, but I don't. Utah State, did Mr. Alberry play in that game?
He did. You know what? Oddly enough, they had Drake Allen starting at point guard, and I think maybe first, second, third play, separated his shoulder, kind of a bang-bang play, inadvertent, and that kind of propelled Dayton into more playing time in the short term, and if I'm not mistaken, they kept him in the starting lineup throughout the year. But he had a really good game. You know, we had other guys higher in the scouting report, but because of the opportunity that we're like, man, we can't keep that Alberry kid out the paint.
Yeah, well, we've seen that so far. We don't want to go talk too much about June and July, but we will. Hold on, Lobo fans. All right, well then, am I mistaken? Is there a familiar face from Irvine with the Lobos now?
Yeah. We recruited from the quote unquote enemy. We have Coach Michael Wilder, who's been a staple of the UC Irvine program. He played there. He's coached there. And I think that's the cool thing about Coach Olin. Even though we had success, he's open to hearing how other people have done it and bringing new ideas. And Coach Wilder has been great with our guys. He's really influential and a big part in all aspects of our program.
Well, and for Lobo fans, if you're not sure, when you see Coach Wilder, he's the one with the 1970s Dr. J kind of Artist Gilmore hairdo there. That fro is awesome. So yeah, we're really excited about the staff. I've worked closely with you guys, and so far we're hitting on all the cylinders. All right, we're about a minute from our break, and going to D1. Well, going from Big West to the Mountain West is a whole different deal. Plus, we all have pride in this program as being, over the years, and San Diego State and Boise have done well the last 15, 20 years, Steve Fisher. But since the 70s, UNM basketball has been pretty much, outside the UCLA's, the major program in fan in interest and attendance. The pit is iconic. But what we want to talk about, not only is that change, but since you get to D1, then we have House and the NIL. And all of a sudden, you become involved with contract negotiations. That's got to be crazy.
Yeah, definitely nothing I planned when I started out at West LA Junior College at 21 years old. But like anything, you got to be ready to adapt. And yeah.
Yeah, all right. So that's a big deal. That's, you know, we ran that at 505, and now we're in a collaboration. So we're going to take a break for a few minutes, and we'll come back. We'll talk about the effect of NIL on the college game, and finally, Lobo fans, what we kind of look like going into this year. Stay with us. We'll take a short break.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Kurt Roth. I'm here with Coach Sam Stapleton, Lobo assistant, Lobo Baskets. And we closed at the last segment with a little mention of NIL and the fact that, you know, who saw that coming 3-4 years ago? No, nobody. But it has changed the whole approach. Obviously, you've been involved. For those who don't know, Sam and I have worked collaboratively with some contracts, trying to shift it into UNM, developing a whole, literally, language in the contracts. Now, like, who thought of that? But what's your overall feeling? It impacts recruiting, and it impacts things like freshmen versus transfer portal. Can you sum that whole concept up in a minute or so? I mean, what's that like?
Very complicated, but I think what we don't want to get lost is recruiting is still a factor, right? You still got to sell a kid and their parent on why you're the fit for them.
Of course.
And if that doesn't do the trick for them, then they might not be the right kid anyway. So I think NIL is definitely a component. But I think we want to make sure we're still recruiting the right basketball fit, recruiting the right people, recruiting the right type of kid that can play for Coach Olin, and then making sure the NIL part matches up with their expectations and what we're able to provide.
Oh, well said. It is funny, though, for me being a long-time booster who got a pamphlet every year in the beginning of the year, you can't do this, you can't do that. I've got my Frontier Golden Pride cup here, and I've said recently, I was quoted saying, 3 years ago, if I bought Chris Howell green chili stew at Frontier, we'd both get in trouble. I'd be banned. He might get put on suspension. Now, we've actually had to deal with a couple of 3 or 4 agents. Good ones, bad ones. So it's changed the mix, but you're right. Ultimately, and I find this to be true, if a kid's looking at money first, you probably don't want him. If that's the major factor. And so, but it has affected planning going forward. Where there's talk about redshirting versus playing right away. So other than the money part, is it just create a little more planning?
Yeah, I think planning before meant how many scholarships would you have available, and I think beyond the NIL was you would have 5-10 years ago retention was more of a thing. Right now you could plan, take the NIL out of it. You could plan on, all right, by the time this kid is a junior,
right, you got him,
and now you could bring in a freshman point guard to play behind them, and now it would be a little cleaner. So I think along with NIL and the more prevalent transferring, that has made it harder to plan, which is why, again, I keep going back to the recruiting part, the retention. And I tell kids all the time, like, you want to feel valued by NIL. There's nothing wrong with money, with being compensated and money being a factor. But my pitch is like, how can you continue to create value for yourself? And a lot of guys talk about being professional basketball players. So how can you create value to be a pro, whether NBA, overseas, 4 years from now? Other guys might know that they don't have an NBA future, and value might just mean how can I capitalize on my senior year being where I benefit financially.
In the best position, of course. All right, so now we've just finished June and July, so you've had some guys almost 8 weeks, some guys a week. We have the international guys come. The team, you started from zero, and you've got 14 guys now in the mix. Overall, without specifics, what you're feeling so far?
I feel great. It's funny when you talk about returner. In my mind, I view Chris Howell as a returner,
right,
even though he's never played a game in a Lobo uniform.
Right. He is a returner.
But in terms of our system, and I think we've hit on our evaluations of guys. I think they do what we thought they'd be able to do. Sometimes, right, you might have a Dayton Albury where you literally played against them. Other guys are only going off of film. But I think we have the makings to be a really good team. But we got to keep working. Our guys are on a little break right now. And come mid-August, early September is when I think we look to continue to take that next step forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, from a coach, you've just heard a very optimistic evaluation. I am much more optimistic. I am almost stunned at times how cohesive the team looks. And recently, with the addition of Tomislav, kind of plugged up a hole. Teams, I don't want to say small, because I think overall we're not. But we don't have the front line size, so to speak. But it's real. As someone once told me recently, the vibe is good. So what do you think? What's the key? You also have roster issues or time issues. That's the next thing. And that's earned now going forward?
So number one, right, health. I think would always be what you look at as the number one factor. And again, we don't have the advantage of having returners going into their second, third year in our program. So I think that's a unique, I don't even want to call it obstacle, but unique thing that we're trying to overcome. That even the Chris Howell, who's viewed as a returner, he's new to the Lobo program, and I think trying to continue to build that chemistry. But yeah, I think everything's on the right trending on the right track.
We've spent at 505. We've spent a bunch of time with the guys, or we've gone out socially. You may see us in town. If you see me with a bunch of tall guys, that's the Lobos. Come up and say hi. Anyway, all right. Well, we're done. So a lot of work to do. It looks like a lot of fun for us. Keep putting your head down, get this job done. Let's get this team competitive, and we're going to have the full pit. Oh, yeah, buy your season tickets now. They're on sale. Don't wait, because it's going to be hard to get a ticket. Coach, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Kurt.
Everybody else, we're in a collaboration with UNM. NIL hasn't changed. Your support is great. The Lobo Alliance, you can get the information at our website, 505sports.org, or, of course, golobos.com. We need your help. Nickels, dimes, pennies, it all adds up. We're in a race to the top here. We're going to be competitive, and we need all Lobo fans to come along for the ride. Anyway, next week we're on vacation, so you won't get to see us. We'll be back probably with a pre-Michigan football program in 2 weeks. So again, Kurt Roth, 505 SVF, thanks for being here. See you next time.